your bowed solo on All Through the Night.
Sorry.
No, it was great. I loved it. It was excellent.
I've taken a lot of bass solos over 36 years of recording, but I thought that for a song like that, it might make a nice, element in the recipe.
But yeah, let's dive right in. I'm happy to introduce Christian McBride, incredible bass player, composer, arranger, band leader, just bass legend. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
My pleasure.
Today I really want to dive into your album, Without Further Ado, Volume 1. So it's a big band album that has a lot of amazing vocalists featured on it. And I wanted to first dive into, I guess, your inspiration for doing not only a vocal big band album, but one that features such a wide variety of amazing vocalists.
Yeah, since 2012, I've been jazz advisor at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center in Newark, New Jersey. And my big band plays the annual gala. And we usually invite a bunch of incredible vocalists to sing with the big band for these annual galas. And so since 2012, I've just been writing this big band material for whatever vocalists come and sing with the big band for these annual galas. And after a decade or so, I realized I just had all of these big band charts laying around of songs that had only been played once. So I thought it really would be a shame to waste these.
Yeah.
But let me figure out a way to actually record them. And so that's the pretty basic premise behind this new big band album.
I love how much each piece is so perfect for that singer. I mean, and just for listeners and viewers, we have Sting and Andy Summers from The Police, Jeffrey Osborne, Samara Joy, José James, Cécile McLorin Salvant, Dianne Reeves, and Antoinette Henry. So incredible vocalists, and there's so much variety in the album. What was the process like for creating the tracks? Did you collaborate with them? Did you come to them with an idea? Did they come with an idea to you? You already mentioned it was kind of over a period of time.
Right. I mean, the only things that were written specifically for this record were Murder by Numbers for Sting and Andy and Old Folks for Samara Joy. Everything else had already been performed for the NJPAC gala. So it was stuff that they were already familiar with. But for Sting's track, we had planned on doing something else. And while we were in the process, I heard the original version of Murder by Numbers, and I'd forgotten what a cool tune that was. And when I casually mentioned this to Sting, he was the one that suggested that, well, if you want to do that instead, let me talk to Andy. I bet he'll do it with us. And so he made that happen. And for Samara, now, mind you, when I first started doing these NJPAC galas, I think Samara was still in junior high school.
Wow.
And she actually may have been in elementary school now that I think about it. That's pretty crazy. But, she's been one of the greatest stories in jazz inside of the last 5 years. And to watch her ascension has been a wonder to see.
Yeah.
And so even though she had not been a part of the NJPAC galas with my big band, I had to include her just because she's so incredible. And the year that she won the Sarah Vaughan International Jazz Vocal Competition, I was one of the judges. So I feel a certain thing with her, so we work together well.
That's amazing. And I mean, each vocalist really creates the track. It's like their own. One of my favorite is Come Rain or Come Shine. Like that's such a cool rendition of that tune. Like and also the way that Antoinette just like completely moves the melody around the beat, like just to the nth degree. It's so cool. And then also I was interested in Dianne Reeves. Your writing textures also really change for each vocalist. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
It's a simple conversation with the artist and say, hey, what do you want to sing? And most of the time, they will let me kind of run with it because they know I don't believe in, I'm not going to trick them into doing something that, I like to challenge the vocalist, of course, but you only want to challenge them so they feel inspired, not so they feel like they're being stumped or being put on the spot and now they have to be uncomfortable in front of a bunch of people for a couple of songs. I don't think it's worth that. It's worth that I gain their confidence and their trust. And then once you do that, now you have more leeway to do things more challenging in the future. Now, with Dianne Reeves, she's one of the few vocalists that I know who is always up for a challenge. There's no such thing as stumping her. If you say, "Hey Diane, I want to recreate Misty as like an acoustic rock song," she'll be like, "All right,
let's do it.
Let's do it." Yeah, and I put it in 5/8. She'll be like, "Okay."
And what else? Are you gonna modulate on me?
Yeah, and she's like, "Okay, let me hear it, and let me get it," and like, "Okay, cool, I got it." So Diane is really, she's singular in that sense that she's so utterly fearless, and she likes to do things that are unexpected. So this arrangement of "Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow," Russell Ferrante from the Yellow Jackets actually wrote the arrangement of that for a small group. And so I basically took that small group arrangement and turned it into a big band arrangement. And I just feel like, the original version, or at least the version that most of us are familiar with, are the Ronettes from the early 60s. And it's kind of like a teen pop song, you know what I mean? And the way Diane and Russell did it, they slow the song way down.
Yeah.
And it turns into almost like it's a romantic heartbreak song. It's just so emotionally moving how they did it.
Yeah.
I thought for the big band version, let's bring in some flutes and some clarinets and like let's really double down on the romance heartbreak part. Yeah,
I mean, it had such an orchestral vibe. I mean, I was almost getting like Maria Schneider kind of feeling from some of the colors that you were making in there. Just so cool. I like what you mentioned about kind of creating a space of trust. I can imagine when you did Moanin', that was a great example because it starts off with just you walking bass and Jose is just singing on top of that, and it's kind of really building and it's inviting the listener in like, hey, this is where we're living, and then the head hits. So that was really cool as well.
Thank you. Yeah, Jose is that's my guy. We go a long way back, and he's just an incredible vocalist, but especially when he's singing jazz. He's a really, really great jazz singer, and he's got some records in his catalog that really prove he belongs in that same lineage as, Joe Williams and Billy Eckstine and all those cats.
Well, I mean, one of my favorite parts on that, I was playing on piano. He's like, everybody knows. He keeps hitting on the major sixth, and I was like, this is so great. Like, just this little moment in the song. And then I think the trombone player picked up on that later. So, I mean, it just sounds like you guys are having such a great time recording all these tunes.
That's what it's about. We got to have a good time.
Absolutely. Now, I also wanted to mention your bowed solo on All Through the Night.
Sorry.
No, it was great. I loved it. It was excellent. I mean, one of this album has so much intent, I feel like, to the writing. Like everything seems so well crafted. So what was the intent behind the bowed solo? I mean, was it a nod to Jimmy Blanton or Paul Chambers, or you're just like, you want to show the jazz world that more can be said with bowed bass solos?
No. I don't have conscious thoughts like that anymore.
No.
You have those thoughts when you're 18, it's like at this point in my career, I'm not really trying to prove anything,
Right.
I've taken a lot of bass solos over 36 years of recording, you know. So this one was simply another one.
Well, it was an amazing other solo. That
Well,
was great.
I appreciate it. I'm always paranoid, but I thought that for a song like that, it might make a nice, you know, a nice element in the recipe.
Absolutely, absolutely. It was so fitting. And the last tune on the album, Cold Chicken Sweet Movement 3, I cannot find a movement 1 or 2. So what's the story behind
Yeah, well, it has been recorded, but you'll have to dig really, really deep to find it. I was commissioned by an organization called the North American Saxophone Alliance. They're based in, I think, Mississippi. Yeah, Mississippi. And they had a big band. Was it Ole Miss? Some school down in Mississippi premiered the work. And that's where you would hear movements 1 and 2.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you probably have to YouTube search NASA Cold Chicken. I can't believe that they call themselves NASA. But at some point, I probably will record movements 1 and 2 with my band.
Was the original like a sax only ensemble, or?
Well, no, I was actually under the assumption that it was going to be all saxophones, but this standard big band.
I heard a lot of quotes in some of your writing. Like I heard the Blues March, where it's in some of the backgrounds on Moanin'. The trombonist opened up with the Blue Train, and then you put 4 in the sax lines all through the night. It almost had like a da 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 da, like almost like a glimmer of a hint of that. We already touched on, you said like sometimes you're at the point in your career where you're not like embedding intent kind of within everything. Is this just you're so saturated at this point in jazz that it just naturally comes out?
Yeah, exactly. You're actually the second person that mentioned, you know, they were like, hey, I heard 4 in the arrangement with Cécile, and I thought, I didn't, oh, yeah, I guess that is kind of 4-ish, you know? So yeah, that was totally unintentional. You know, this language just comes out, you know, and, you know, good ears, you know, yeah, Steve Davis did quote Blue Train, and it got a nice little chuckle from everyone in the band when he did it, you know.
That's great.
But the nod to Benny Golson during the trumpet solo when I wrote in the quote from Blues March, that was very much intentional, because my dream was to have Benny Golson hear the arrangement, and so you know, so he could hear me saluting him, you know, literally and figuratively, you know, because Benny Golson was one of my first employers. He took me to Europe with him.
Really? Wow.
Right after, like not long after my 19th birthday.
He is such an incredible writer. Like there are just some amazing...
Golson was the man.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. I mean, and you can tell in your music that you love the music, and I think you love people. If I like just the way that you write music that lifts them up. One of the things that I love from your body of work is your show, The Lowdown. Like I'm on the road for gigs all the time, and it's always a pleasure to hear. Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk about kind of, is there like a mission to preserve jazz? Is it just kind of the fun hang and you want to just see what comes out of it? Or like, what is that for you that really drives that kind of aspect of your career?
All of this stuff that has not a lot to do with playing the bass, you know, like broadcasting and even big band arranging and writing, all of that stuff was sort of these sort of organic offshoots of being in the jazz community. You know, I've been really fortunate and blessed to be friends with so many great musicians, and they've all got great stories. They've all got great experiences. I've had a chance to share a lot of these experiences with these musicians who are on the show. And I just simply want to capture two friends, you know, talking about, you know, grind stories, you know.
Yeah.
Being on the field of battle, you know, that could be in the bandstand or you know, trudging through the airport, you know. So I just like doing that. I don't even know if it's, you know, trying to preserve jazz. It's really trying to get people to hear the stories, you know, because there's so much wisdom in those stories, you know. So people like Diane, Cécile, Chris Potter. And I'm also glad that, you know, I've had this show because so many people I've had on the show are gone now. You know, Roy Hargrove, Russell Malone, Lou Donaldson, Chick Corea, you know, so I'm glad I was able to get them. And those stories and our friendships are captured forever.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, they're so cool to listen to. With the pared down just bass and whether sax or piano, it's such a great window into really being able to listen very clearly and hear the conversations happening and just also hear you play bass like that. That's also great too.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I had one question, and I guess it gets kind of back to the idea of intent, and I don't want to really zero in on something if that's not how you approach the music, but I asked because a lot of my work is trying to help students, trying to help, you know, high school kids, middle school band class kids, or teachers, like piano teachers that want to figure out how jazz is done, and I think at some point in an early musician's process of growth, they recognize either a sound that they want to go after, or maybe they recognize holes in their playing. And I think even in some of the greats that we celebrate, we'll see instances of them making very conscious decisions. Like Monk, for instance, could play Chopin and very pianistically, but he chose his percussive attack and his dissonant chords and stuff like that. In your growth process, was there ever like a very clear, like, this is the kind of bass playing that I want to do? And if so, what was that?
It was Ron Carter. Ron Carter was my very first jazz bass hero. I tried to do everything like him. I transcribed as much as I could all the time. I saw videos of him and I would try to stand like him, try to get the same right hand technique, like, you know, literally just anything and everything Ron Carter. That's what I was going for. And no matter what I did to the T, I could not sound like Ron Carter. And this is a lesson to all young musicians, because I think that happens a lot. You hear somebody, you connect with them, and you try to copy that, you know, and hopefully get the same results. It never works, you know. It's like DNA. You can't have that DNA no matter how hard you try, you know. So I couldn't copy his notes or everything he did and get the same results, but I could study the concept, you know, the concept of building a linear bass line, the concept of having clear notes from the bottom to the top of the instrument, you know, extended harmony, extended rhythm, those kinds of things. But then when I saw Ray Brown perform live for the first time, it just blew my mind, because something about his playing brought in the fun element. It brought in the funk element. He wasn't playing funk, but the attitude was very much the same as funk.
Yeah.
And that blew my mind, because I'd never heard or I'd never seen a jazz musician play swing rhythms with the same attitude as funk musicians. And that really did me in forever.
Yeah. I think with Ray Brown too, there's like almost like a joyfulness to his playing. It's the same reason I love Errol Garner. Like, Errol Garner is such a joyful piano player, and I think that sometimes jazz might need more of that. I think sometimes, you know, like it's an okay area to explore. Like, the thing doesn't just have to be dark artistic music. So I think that's one of the things that I love about your playing, and I can hear the Ray Brown influence, is that joy that comes out. I also love that you brought up Ron Carter. I had a chance to interview him about a month ago, and just picking his brain about those chord substitutions in the moment, I still think I was just scratching the surface. Because, I mean, especially with the second great quintet stuff. And I was asking him, I was like, what, like, when you are suggesting or like playing something and wanting to lead the band in the direction, like, are you thinking about it in terms of different options? And he just goes, I'm the option. And I just love that idea of like, this is it. Like, are you following me? Like, so much in there.
Mr. Carter.
I know.
I'm sure if Tony Williams were alive, he'd have a good counter, but
yeah, right.
he's not. So we'll give it to Mr. Carter.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time to talk with me. It was such a delight. Everyone can check out your album wherever they get music. It's up for a Grammy. Congratulations again, by the way.
Thank you very much.
I'll be seeing you in Baltimore at the Keystone Corner, so I'm looking forward to that too.
With Ursa Major, I believe.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right. Looking
I
forward to it.
can't wait.
Me too. All right. Well, thank you so much for the time, and I'll see you later.
My pleasure, man. I'll see you in February.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
All right. See you later.
Thank you so much for watching this interview with Christian McBride. We've got lots more interviews, courses, books, and more at thisisjazz.com. Check it out. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.